Hello, my name is Kay Meyer. I'm a reader and writer of all things spooky, and today I would like to share a little bit about a brand new book by one of my favorite indie authors, Toni Duarte. Her new book is called The Hollow Dark. So I know Toni's writing from another series she has called Bioluminescence, which is a really, really awesome post-apocalyptic sci-fi kind of novel. Very much reminiscent of like The Walking Dead and The Last of Us, if you like those kind of things. But this new book she has, The Hollow Dark, is a branch into fantasy. So I was excited to get to try a new book in a different genre from an author I already know I really like. And Toni does not disappoint. So what is The Hollow Dark? Basically, in a world where magic is increasingly frowned upon and even outlawed, our two main characters form an unlikely bond. August, as a member of the royal family, was raised to hate magic wielders, even though he is one. And his magic isn't like other people's magic. He can see the anchored. And in this magical framework, the anchored are hungry ghosts or spirits that have lingered after the person has passed away. Almost every wielder in this world can only harness one magical power. But then we have Felix, who can control 3, including some that are outlawed. Felix is tired of hiding his power, and he is absolutely sick of the fear of magic that is overtaking his country. Now, August and Felix's story is told in dual timelines. We have the past, where August and Felix meet and become friends, and then we have the current time, where they are sworn enemies because something happened that not only completely tore apart their friendship, but caused the entire world to be thrown into apocalyptic chaos. Talk about a friendship breakup. The Hollow Dark is an upper YA dark fantasy that features queer characters who may or may not go from friends to enemies to sort of friends again to potentially lovers if they don't kill each other. The Hollow Dark highlights Toni's signature immersive world building and her ability to craft magnetic characters that I still want to know more about, even if I don't particularly like them. I think in this book in particular, she did a really good job of creating morally gray characters that you kind of don't know who to root for because they all kind of suck, but they're also all kind of good. So it's hard to figure out who like the real antagonists are. But by the end, you definitely know. I really liked August's character in just how seeing ghosts was incorporated as a magical ability. Like, that was really awesome. That was probably my favorite part about the entire magic system that is in The Hollow Dark. And the way the title, The Hollow Dark, is explained is really cool. But it's a spoiler, so I won't share that. I also think it's really cool how the wielder's eyes will glow a certain color depending on their power. Sometimes fantasy with like really dense world building can be kind of confusing, especially how you pronounce certain words and names. So I really liked how Toni provided a glossary and just pronunciation guide in the book. And she also has really in-depth content warnings that you should check out on her website, just because this is a dark fantasy. So there might be some things you're like, I don't know about this. Personally, after reading the content warnings, I was like, that sounds fine with me. So this is the first book in a duology. I'm excited to see what happens next with August and Felix, and I would love to see a little bit more of Felix's friend Marlowe, who is a trans character who I thought had really interesting side plots going on, especially because Felix didn't know about it and all the stuff that she was getting up to. So would love to see a little bit more Marlowe. I also feel like Toni does a really good job of taking diversity into consideration. There are multiple characters of color and with disabilities or neurodivergencies, but Felix has a limb difference. Speaking of diversity, I can't forget to mention the queer characters. The main ship is a queer ship. They don't use explicit labels for Felix and August just because like this is a fantasy world. They don't have that same terminology that we do. But we learn about Felix having previous partners of multiple genders. And I would say Marlowe is the most important character outside of the main two, and she's a trans woman. And now that I've read 3 books by the same author, I can happily add her to my auto-buy when I have money for books list. Or at least auto-read. Like, I have to read whatever she writes next. She's just so good.